Hey everybody, so today is week number 4, day number 7. So this is going to finish out the first 4 weeks of our 16-week training program. Today would be the long run, so it's going to be an endurance type of a workout, working on my base. So let's just call it up and see what Garmin has in store for today. So I got it pulled up on my phone already. So I'm to go at an easy pace for 135 minutes and 10 minutes to cool down afterwards, and then it says to stretch, of course. So in total, it will be 145 minutes. And if we do the math on that, that's 2 hours and 25 minutes. 215 at the easy pace, and then 10 additional minutes after that. So just short of 2.5 hours. And it's not one that I'm necessarily looking forward to. Normally, I enjoy the long run, but since I'm not running and I'm indoors on a stationary bike, that's not nearly as much fun. It can be a bit tedious. 2.5 hours basically on a stationary bike in your living room isn't exciting. It's not exciting at all. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. And I'm going to put forth a good effort for sure. To help me out, I'm going to call up a workout on YouTube, and I'll just kind of go along with that. I won't follow the workout necessarily unless it's just an easy ride type of a thing. Because the purpose for today is to go at an easy pace. And for me, the best judge that I have to know if I'm in that easy zone is my heart rate. And my heart rate for an easy zone on my stationary bike is 109 beats per minute up to 126 beats per minute. So that's the window that I want to try to stay in. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to get into this one. Again, I'm going to try to keep it between 109 and 126 beats per minute on my bike. Now, my heart rate zones are different when I run, but this is what it is when I'm out on my bike. So that's the one that I'm following for today. All right, I got to change my clothes, get on my cycling stuff, nothing specific. Oh, I did get a question, it made me laugh. So, or a comment on my last video, and it just kind of popped up. I haven't had a chance to respond to a lot of comments recently, but I will. I'm going to get on there hopefully today. But why I was wearing a hat indoors, because there's no sun. I don't have to worry about the fact that my hair's a little thinner on top. I'm trying to keep the sun off it or anything like that. But I'm basically using my hat as a sweatband. I do have a traditional sweatband that I could wear, but I look pretty goofy in it, frankly. So this, I don't know. I think it just doesn't look as bad as a sweatband does, but it still serves almost the same purpose. So it does a pretty good job of keeping the sweat out of my eyes. Not perfect, but pretty good. Better than nothing, I would say. All right, enough about all that. I'm going to get into this workout because I got 2.5 hours to go. And it's morning now, but it'll be afternoon by the time I finish. Oh, boy. All right, let's get this one moving. So I'm just at the start of this 2-hour and 25-minute cycling session. My heart rate's around 110, 112, somewhere in that ballpark. Resistance level is set at 5 on my bike. And my RPMs are right around 100. So that's what I'm going to shoot for pretty much over the next 2 hours and 25 minutes. So we're going to see how it goes. I've got a Global Cycling Network video up on my television, a little something to watch. It's an hour long, so it'll get me by not quite through to the first half, but pretty darn close. That's if I can get it to stream properly. It keeps cutting out because I don't quite have the internet back yet. So I'm exactly halfway done. It's going pretty well. When I get a little bit tired of being in this position, to kind of break things up, stretch out my legs, I will crank the resistance up from 5 to 8, as I've done in the past, and then come up out of the saddle for a minute or two. It does raise my heart rate, but it makes it a little more comfortable just overall. Staying in one position for long period of time can get a little bit uncomfortable. So kind of coming up out of the saddle once in a while has really helped. Plus it helps to kind of just break things up a bit. For the most part, I've stayed at a resistance level of 5, and my RPMs, when I'm at a resistance 5, I try to keep around 100, and when I do that, my heart rate's about 120 beats per minute. Now, when I go up to 8, and I back the resistance or back the RPMs down to about 70, my heart rate still jumps up to 135, which is higher than I want it to be today. So I don't stay at that level for very long, just long enough to kind of stretch my legs. All right, 2 hours and 15 minutes on a stationary bike. It went pretty well, just about as expected. It gets a bit long just on your bike in your living room. Not a whole lot to look at, but we got it done, and that's what's most important. So I'm in that 10-minute cool down phase. And the one thing I would note about the workout is toward the end, probably the last 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so, I had to lower my cadence down, my RPMs down a little bit to try to keep in that heart rate zone, because my heart rate was creeping up over 126 beats per minute, which is the upper end of easy for cycling for me. So other than that, it went pretty well. Other than it just felt like it took forever. It's just not a lot to look at in here. But I'm glad that I got it done, and I feel good about that. So I'm just going to cruise for 10 minutes, and then we'll take a look at the overall numbers here when I get this cool down phase over with. All right, we'll talk more in a minute. All right, 2 hours and 25 minutes on a stationary bike today. Overall, I think it went pretty well. I'm glad I got it done. It's, while it's a little bit boring, I guess, uneventful in my living room, you don't have as much to look at. On the upside, I don't have to worry about the ice and the snow and the risk of falling and all of that kind of stuff either. So there is an upside to working out in my living room on the stationary bike today, but I'd much prefer to be outside. Okay, so let me grab my tablet and see if I can look at some of the numbers here to share with you. Of course, as I mentioned, 2 hours and 25 minutes. The average power was 233.6. The distance, it says, is 83.52 kilometers. Now, the average resistance was 6. And the reason that it's 6 and not 5, because I had it at resistance 5 the majority of the time, is because when I would need to stretch my legs a little, I would come up out of the saddle, as I mentioned earlier. And to do that, I had to crank the resistance up to about 8 to be able to do that comfortably. And so I found myself doing that a bit more frequently as the workout went on and it got into it further and further time-wise, because I just needed to stretch a little more often towards the latter half of the workout. So that's why it's a resistance level of 6. All right. That's it for today's workout, and that's it for today's video. So thanks for making it to the end. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. I got to go run to the vet. We have 4 cats. One of them, which is the most fragile, the smallest of the 4, and they're all older cats. They're all over 10 years old. for some reason has really, stopped eating, or not eating like she should, and she's lost a lot of weight. And she only weighed 6 pounds to begin with, so now she's down to about 4 pounds. And I've had her into the vet. They did some blood work, and today I'm going to go down and pick up some medication to help maybe stimulate her appetite, try to get her eating again. So I got to go do that. Okay, and I'll see you tomorrow.